Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. A very good afternoon to each and every one of you, and welcome to our international podcast, Below the Belt. Who vex is one with GPL, man. Is one with GPL. That's what I want to know. Who vex lose. Folks, shut down. That's what they call it. All kinds of fancy, fantastical names they call it. It's a shutdown though, right? You got all these fancy names, but it's the same thing. It's a shutdown. That's what they call it. I tell you what, they termed it. Welcome to each and every one of you who are joining our international podcast. The Ghana Power and Light here in the national capital city of Georgetown, where we broadcast from, has provided wonderful blackout this good Sunday. Wonderful blackout. We know those of you who join us from the diaspora don't have these kinds of troubles, don't have these kinds of worries at all. But blackout, believe it or not. But that being said, let me start by welcoming some of you. I see Beatrice Selby is here. I see Linda Thomas is here. I see Melinda McKenzie, along with so many other folks, are here. Good to have each and every one of you guys. Diane Britton, I see Diane Britton. I see Alison Pearson, Cassandra Keeler, Siobhan McDonald. A very good afternoon to each and every one of you. Blackout, believe it or not. Oh, isn't that sad? I think that is so sad. Blackout, blackout, blackout. The last thing you want on a Sunday is blackout. But nonetheless, you guys are here and we're so happy about that. You all make it a little more bearable. A little more bearable, but good to have each and every one of you. Marcel Williams, Patricia Grives-Andy Goodman, Andrew Caleb. Uh, Good to see you, Monica Jack and Keith McDonald. Good to have all of you fantastic folks like Tasha Silat. Good to see you, Tasha. Tasha, good to see you. Good to see each and every one of you folks. Oh, it's time. You join the podcast, smash that emoji button, and give the broadcast a share. Why don't you? Good to have you guys. How are you spending your Sunday, Tasha and Diane and Marcel? Jonna, how are you guys spending your Sunday? Keith, how are you guys spending your Sunday? Hope you guys have more power. You have more energy than we have at this end. We're going to be talking today about the Ghana Teachers Union and as we look towards an educated nation. Lots of things happening in the Guyana Teachers Union today, guys. Lots of things are happening. Lots of things happening too by GPL, apparently. A lot of things happening at GPL too. And GPL, a couple of minutes ago, put out a public advisory after the Don't Give Me Blackout. No forewarning. No forewarning. After they gave us blackout, they would have us to know, guys, they would have us to know that the Demerara Berbice interconnected system experienced a shutdown. Heard it all before, heard it all before. And efforts are underway to restore power in affected areas. Of course, they had heard it all before, heard it all before in the text. I was just ad libbing there, but yes, heard heard it all before. We have heard it all before, and we're so happy. We are so happy we have you guys here with us. We are very happy about that. And as we're talking about this, uh, the shutdown of the Damara Berbice interconnected system, it seemed ironic that we saw also a post on the installed Ferdinand Vice President Bar Jagdio's page in which he stated, and this is just today, he's reflecting on what he said a couple of days ago. Vice President Bar Jagdio on Thursday ruled out an increase in water bills due to the rising cost of fuel. So they've ruled out that. Ruled out that an increase in electric bills and an increase in your water bill as well. But they didn't tell me nothing but the gas, right? And they didn't tell me nothing but flour. They ain't stepping in. They say all on your own where those things are concerned. But as it concerns the water and the electricity, they're promising. Again, you know what the promises are worth. But they're promising nonetheless that they're not going to raise any cost on electricity and also water. So we're going to have to wait to see where that goes, where that leads. But no sooner, 5 hours ago, according to what we're seeing here, Then the fraudulent installed vice president put it up on Facebook. We're seeing GPL. Oh, father. Look, folks, if GPL tell you all, we need to increase it, but we won't have so many blackouts if we do. Would you be so predisposed, right? So predisposed as to acquiesce to GPL's wishes? Yeah. But they're saying they're raising electricity bill, but it's blackout. Maybe that's how they maybe that's how they pull down the costs, the overhead costs, the production costs, and so forth. It's a steady blackout. Is a steady blackout. But folks, that's what's happening on the GPL front. It's a big front too. It's a big front. I mean, like, who wants blackout on a Sunday? What are you guys doing? And those of you guys who are with me in Guyana, what are your thoughts on this blackout? Marcel Williams and Glensis Mingo Byrne, Claudette Bowen Lewis. Good to see you folks out and about, loud and proud. Good to have you guys. Smash the emoji button. Smash, 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 smash. Tony Hack. We see you there, Tony. We see you. Guys, a great, big, happy Sunday to each and every one of you. What the Blacko doing with y'all if y'all back home? What the Blacko doing with we? What the Blacko to do with we? Folks. I'm fed up. Fed up with blackout. How about you folks? Y'all fed up too? And that's what I'm saying. We fed up. Cherry Baskin Robbins. Good to see you, Cherry. Good to see you, Cherry. Guys, we hope you are having a fantastic, beautiful, enlightening, peace-loving, uncontroversial, uneventful Sunday. That is our hope for each and every one of you. We're talking today about the Ghana Teachers Union towards an educated nation. Folks, a lot of things happening in the Ghana Teachers Union. A lot of things. They're in an election period right now. Believe it or not, they're in an election period. And my colleague who's going to be joining us, she's running for re-election. And by she, the pronoun, I'm referring to Carlotta McDonald, Member of Parliament and current General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. She is running for re-election to that very post. Yep, and there are other folks who are contending as well for different posts in the Ghana Teachers Union. But as we say, folks, that's what happens in a democracy. But our colleague, she's going to be able to talk to us a little bit about what's happening in education and perhaps a bit about what's happening on the election front. Maybe and perhaps what's happening on the election front. And I think I did see sorry, apologies there. I think I did see one of the election ad pertaining to Carter McDonald, and half of the studio is dark, so I'm just trying to find my way around. Trying not to bounce my toe and bust my head, but trying to find my way around to get that audio to you. Apologies there for any static you may hear. Just trying to hook some things up so you guys can get this audio. Apologies there. And let me see if I can bring that to you quickly. I hate that static. Hate the static, folks. Are you guys hearing that? All right, hold on for me. Want to make sure you're hearing it well. Apologies there, guys. Apologies there. Let's see if we have it now, do we?
We cannot talk
Yeah. Let me take it back from the top. Take a listen. Trying to get out some of that annoying thing that you hear at the back there. Trying to get some of that out. Apologies. But take a listen to this.
Carter McDonald.
We cannot talk education reform if opportunities are not made available. On the coast, our teachers are exposed to most of the facilities. But what is happening to my brothers and my sisters in the hinterland? And we talking free and fair and equal opportunities. We cannot talk education reform when we are not considering the revamping of the training that is given to teachers at the Surrey Porter College of Education.
The best, better than the rest. Service with distinction, commitment, and dedication that's second to none. Teachers, vote Coretta McDonald, your champion for General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union.
Yep. Very interesting, very interesting, very interesting. And with that said, I just would like you to know that this election is going to be contested by several persons. I'm gonna go through some of the persons who might be familiar to you, who are going to be participating. I'm going to go through some of that for you. But contesting, for instance, for president of the Ghana Teachers Union, you have Mr. Mark Light, you have Vanessa Kisoon. For first vice president, you got Mariska Williams, you got, is it Lesamine, right? Fancy name, Collins, Lesamine Collins, for first vice president. Second vice president, you got Julian Cambridge and Kamal Singh. General secretary, you have our sister Coretta McDonald, Milleen Seymour, Dorsel Farley. And for deputy general secretary, you have Jennifer Clark Nicholson. You got, is it Heathcliff Peters and Delana Jones, Alistair Fraser, Chanel Hines. For treasurer, you have Samantha Allen, who has been unopposed, meaning she's the only candidate. And so there's an election where that is concerned. You have also regional vice president for Demerara, Colin Nicholson. He is also unopposed in that quest. And so there's an automatic election. And then you have a regional vice president for Berbice, Donna DeAndre. That also is unopposed. So by virtue of that, that's an election. You got regional vice president for Esikebo, Carmen Williams, and Rabindranath Buduraman. Just want to say best wishes to all the folks who are running. Best wishes to all the folks who are running. But we're going to be speaking with, well, no buts. We're going to be speaking with the current general secretary to find out what's happening in the Ghana Teachers Union. How do we pursue an educated nation? And what's happening with the campaigns that are happening? Lots of busyness in the Ghana Teachers Union at the moment, and just the way it should be. Always hustling and bustling with activities that redounds to the benefit of the nation. As you know, I think the motto of the Guyana Teachers Union is we mold the nation, if I remember correctly. We mold the nation. And so, folks, that's some of what's happening on that front. And good to see so many of you joining the podcast today, folks. Good to see so many of you joining the podcast today. Good to see. Yeah. Good to see so many of you joining the podcast. Jude Bentley, good to see you there. Good to see you, Jude Bentley, Julian Mars, and Chisung Henry. Tony Hatt, good to see you as well. Good to see you. Good to see all the other folks who are joining us today. Folks, smash that emoji button for us and share our international podcast. We're so grateful, guys. A couple of other things happening as well. We wanted to share that with you, but guys, if we only had a little more light in the studio, if we only had a little more light in the studio, that would have been done. But that's the information I think we want to bring for you at this time. And so glad, so glad to see so many of you guys here. So glad to see so many of you guys here. And hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday. Hope you guys are having a big, fantastic, lovely, beautiful Sunday. It's picture perfect outside. But don't let me talk too quick because you know some we got black tongue. Some we got black tongue. Who know? Who know? Somebody are gonna ask. What I mean? Who know? Full stop. Who know? Somebody got black tongue. Picture perfect weather. But folks, what is the weather like where you are? What is the weather like where you are we gonna tell you? Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. We're gonna tell you. We are going to tell you. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see if it's really good weather outside. It's 28 degrees outside, folks. 28 degrees outside. But the folks say it feels like 31 degrees. It feels like 31. No, it feels like 28 to me. But if weather.com says it feels like 31, it feels like 31. And that being said, folks, there's a 12% chance, believe it or not, a 12% chance that it's going to rain into the afternoon, and that picks up into the evening. And overnight, with a 78% chance in the evening that it's going to rain, and that decreases to a 73% chance it's going to rain overnight. Folks, it's going to rain overnight. So if you're going out, if you're sleeping out, make sure you walk with your coat, another kind of coat you're thinking, the other coat, and your umbrella, folks. Please and thank you, and slow down on the roads, guys. Slow down on the roads, and let me arrive alive. Let us arrive alive. Mm-hmm. 28 degrees again, guys. They say it feels like 31. It feels like 28 to me. It feels like 28. Good to have each and every one of you here with us. And Curtis is going to be joining us shortly. But while we do that, I want to give a big shout out to Fitzherbert Jarek, all the way from beautiful, cold Connecticut, he says. Beautiful, cold Connecticut. Good to have you, Fitzherbert. And good to see you, Don Johnson, Melinda McKenzie, Maureen Carpin Williams. And if a little birdie told me that Mr. Fitzherbert Jarek is recently retired, and we want to wish him all the best in this new phase of his life, folks. This new phase of his life. Good to have you on the broadcast, sir. And we know we gotta bring you up to the mic one of these days. We gotta bring you up to the mic. Respect and manners. Yolanda Martin, good to see you. Kevin Harris, good to see you as well. Good to see you. Ainsley Ben Morgan. Ainsley, good to see. I ain't see you for a little bit, Ainsley. Trust all as well. Smash the emoji button, share the podcast for us, and let's get a move on, folks. Let's get a move on. We are going to. Let me see. Yep. We're going to bring in our sister in just a second. So bear with us in just a second. And we're going to talk about what's happening. And so much is happening, guys. So much. I just want to keep you guys up to date. Just want to keep you guys posted. So bear with us as we coming down. All right. Let me make sure we have our sister with us, and then we're going to be good to go. We're going to be good to go. What is the weather like where you folks are? Fitzherbert says it's cold. Chisung Henry says it's 29 degrees. 29 degrees. Where Chisung is. Chisung, let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know where you're joining us from. Please and thank you. Let me know we fast. Let us know where you're joining us from. All right? And we're about to grab our sister, Creda McDonald, and about to drag her in the ring below the belt on this Sunday. Yep. Good to have you guys. Apologies there. We're still trying to make sure everything is connected properly. I don't even know why. Yeah, hold on. I think we have our sister joining us. Bear with us, guys. Bear with me. Yep, and I think we do have Coretta McDonald, the General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. Coretta, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you and happy Sunday to your
Well, you
listeners.
sound fired up and ready to go. You just breathe a little life into me now.
Well, it's Sunday, Sharon,
Mm-hmm.
a day that I usually use to relax,
Mm-hmm.
even though I have to do everything to prepare for the new week ahead of me. But it's raining one, and the GCL would have withdrawn power. So you can understand that I have to be fired up because I have to fire up myself.
I hear you there. Coretta, we joined by several persons today from around the world. Believe it or not, we got Christy Burrows, who says, "Shared good morning from the Bahamas," and we got a couple of well teachers in the Bahamas. We also
Yeah.
have who says Boxer Derek. Teacher Mackenzie died in Ghana last Friday. Yes, we want to say our thoughts and prayers go out to that family. He represented Ghana well. This is according to Miss Burrows, in
Yeah.
his heyday. Please let's have a moment of silence for him. Yep. Thank you for that, Christine Burrows. We have a daily sample who's joining us from Antigua, and Michael
Wow.
Gittin says it's 30 degrees in New Jersey. It's 30 degrees in New Jersey. And then we have Marcel Williams joining us from Westbury, Essequibo. Yep. Lots of good places represented here today. And then we have, correct, just another person, Vashti Magnot, joining us from Waterloo, Canada. We got Chisung Henry, says what? Uh, uh, they're in Philadelphia, joining. Philly's in the house. We got Lyndon here, also Pansy Fields, and all the other wonderful folks are here with us. And Carter, you just got a little cold by your side.
Well, if you hear noise in the background, it's just the generator you're hearing. You're going to bear, you and your listeners are going to bear with me because I can't do anything else.
Yeah. We can take it how we get it. We can take it how we get it. We're so happy to have you here, and it's remarkable that this is where we are. The guys say they fixed Garden of Eden and they brought in some experts and all of that. And then lo and behold, they tell us, I don't know if you had a chance to see it correctly, but according to what GPL put out, they're saying that, let me quote it back for the folks who may have just joined us. They say that they are having the Burbies, Demar Burbies interconnected system experience a shutdown, and efforts are on the way to restore power to affected areas. Like I tired now. I don't know. Like I tired.
You know, these are the excuses we have all the time. And these excuses are not only with GP and the person who are in construction. We have the excuses right across the board. Even at GTU, we have those kinds of flimsy excuses that we're throwing out now. And Sharon, let me say to you and your viewers that the GTU is into elections mode now. Mm-hmm. And I thought as a professional people, we would conduct ourselves in a professional manner, even while we are campaigning. But I've seen some things and I've heard some things. It's amazing.
Yep, and some of which we're going to talk about, correctly. Some of which we're going to definitely talk about. But let's start with the role of the GTU. It's such an important organization. Most of our teachers nationally are under the GTU, and as they should be, because union representation rather is so important. Tell us a little bit about the role of the GTU. It's such an important organization, the Ghana Teachers Union.
Well, the GTU is the organization that represents teachers who are financial members. Outside of being financial members, we represent teachers. As long as there's an issue, we represent teachers, even though they are not members. And so we offer legal representation. We offer representation at the level of the Ministry of Education. So if teachers have issues, we represent them. We are the organization
of the Ghana Teachers Union Triannual Election 2020.
Folks, bear with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we offer representation in form of negotiation. So the benefits that teachers have been receiving are as a result of the GTU's negotiation with either the government by itself or other bodies who represent the government, which would be arms of the government. We offer those kinds of representation. And so teachers have been able to benefit because of the representation that has been given by the GTU. Outside of salaries and better conditions, the GTU offers professional help to its teachers all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In addition to that, coming from GTU itself, we offer bursaries to our teachers. We offer death benefits to our teachers. We offer disaster benefits to our teachers. And the professional development we offer to our teachers. Mm-hmm. The professional development that we offer to our teachers, it comes in collaboration with our association with the Canadian Teachers Federation, one, Education International, which is the largest teachers trade union in the world, mm-hmm. and also have our Caribbean Union of Teachers that we are affiliated to. And so we all sit there, and when professional programs are offered for teachers, our teachers here locally are represented either by traveling to another location where the sessions are being held, or now because of COVID, we are conducting most of the business via Zoom. So the GTU is a rounded organization, and we seek to ensure that our members, our teachers, are built and they are rounded so that they can perform in the classroom as well as out of the classroom.
Yep. You know, Coretta, General Secretary, you go make a want come back in the union now. Because I see some wonderful benefits are being had by teachers now, senior teachers, whether it ranges from scholarships to duty free concession and all that. So things are coming
Yes,
to come.
yes. Well, Sharon, let me say to you, teachers, Coretta MacDonald as General Secretary was one of the engineers who brokered that agreement with the government of Guyana in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And coming out of that agreement after lots and lots of negotiations, fallout, walkout of meetings, returning to the table. But at the end of it, we were able to broker an agreement which saw our teachers receiving for the first time in history duty-free concessions, allowances for additional qualifications, clothing allowances, and the with the council allowances that our teachers are receiving, as well as scholarship. So coming out of that agreement for the first time in the history of the Ghana Teachers Union, Coretta MacDonald was General Secretary then when we brokered that agreement. And what has happened over the years is that we have been able to build on that. So when you talk about stewardship to the Guyana Teachers Union and dedication to the Guyana Teachers Union, Coretta MacDonald has been there. And so we have, to clear this, Sharon, we have peddling around this on the outside there. And I was coming from no less a person of the president of the GTU who I have great respect for. But when you're going to in campaigning, you don't have to run your colleagues down to the gutters to campaign to make yourself look good. You talk about your work, what you would have done, and don't try to throw petty things in there to kind of twist people's minds to say, oh, this person's political and that person's politically affiliated. All of us are politically affiliated in one way or the other. All of us are political. And if we are going to go down that road, then we shouldn't receive the salaries that we're receiving because it's political. We shouldn't stop at some supermarkets because they're political. We shouldn't travel in some minibuses. We shouldn't go into some buildings because they're all politically affiliated. And so I needed to just dispel this to say, talk about people's stewardship. Talk about your stewardship if you're going to go out there to campaign. Talk about what you did. Don't try to degrade your folks to make you look good. It wouldn't work because teachers are intelligent people. Teachers understand what leadership is all about. Teachers know the people who have been leading. And so don't come with cheap politics.
Thank you for that, Greta. Talk to us about how you guys, before we get frontally into the electioning, the electioneering, and what's happening on that front. You guys have had to navigate this whole period of a change in government, getting accustomed to the pace, the slow pace in which this government wants to engage. And then you had a pandemic to deal with. And coupled with that, you've had all of the topsy-turviness that goes along with the pandemic and a new administration in terms of the economics. You've had to be looking after your teachers' interests in all of that. How have you guys been able to navigate this very tumultuous period? Very, very tumultuous period.
Well, I was like everything else. COVID came and COVID caught all of us off guard. And we had to very quickly pull ourselves together so that we can continue to negotiate and we can continue to do for teachers what we have done for them. And so while many of our teachers would have contracted COVID, some of them have died, which is unfortunate. We still have to rally through. And so the GTU, we went out there to offer to our teachers. And so many of our teachers were able to receive health care packages.
Mm-hmm.
Many of our teachers were able to receive counseling because of the trauma that comes with this whole issue of contracting COVID, and you did not have the answers as to what you can use for healing, how you can stop the spread, and the whole gamut of it with your families being involved. So we provided those kinds of assistance for our teachers. Those who did not receive care packages, they received financial assistance so that they could have garnered for themselves the kinds of let me say, ingredients they needed to combat either COVID or to help them to survive through the period. In with regards to what has happened politically, we've seen again a return of just who the PPP movement is. When they were there before, we recognized that we got 3 and 5 and 7%, and it's the same thing we are returning to now. I can safely say that during the period of May 11th, 2015, and March 2020. Let me put it that way, or August of 2020. Teachers enjoyed the highest increases in salaries.
Yep.
Teachers received the highest increases in salaries. Outside of teachers, public servants received the highest increases in salary. And those benefits did not come easily. Those benefits, if you remember, Gerald, the teachers fought for those benefits. As a matter of fact, the general secretary was out there championing the cause for teachers, because we have to resort to taking industrial action so that our teachers would be able to benefit. And if you remember, at that time, the general secretary was being hailed as champion for teachers. You know, when we took industrial action in 2018, all and sundry supported the GS because they saw her as a woman of integrity and a woman who was fighting for her members, and not only her members, but for herself, because she is a teacher. But then in 2021, the same conditions we were fighting for in 2021, it took a different turn, where persons conveniently saw the GTU's action as political. Mind you, the conditions that we fought for in 2018 were the same conditions we fought for in 2010, were the same conditions we fought for in 2009, the same conditions we fought for in 2006 and 2003. And so in 2021, the only difference there was that of COVID. That's the only difference we had in 2021. COVID, where our teachers could not congregate or assemble the way we assembled in 2018. But the turn in 2021 was where our operations were political. I don't understand, if you're arguing for increases in salaries, how that is political. I don't understand. Maybe your viewers will be able to tell us. I don't understand, if you're arguing for better conditions in your workplaces, how that could be political. I don't understand, if you're agitating for risk benefits for your members, how that is political. Because you've seen parents going into schools and assaulting teachers. Some of them were placed before the court.
Yeah,
and
correct.
so I don't understand how that could be political. But maybe somebody might be able to tell us. And so the navigation has been somewhat rough. But as an independent body, the GTU, regardless of whether some of its members are political or non-political, the GTU is an independent organization. As a matter of fact, the constitution of the GTU gives every member the right to belong to any political party, any organization that they wish to belong to. And that stemmed from our national constitution. which gives us democratic rights. So when you hear people talk about who's political and who's not political, apparently people want to be discriminatory now. And they want to tell you that you shouldn't be here and you shouldn't be there, or you should be here or you should be there. But the constitution of the Ghana Teachers Union is clear. But
Yep.
we will make
Yep,
it. We
yep.
will make it
We
through.
hear you. And talking about that, Greta, you have been very, very upfront on lots of the issues coming out of the Ghana Teachers Union, and you sit in Parliament as well. I think, which inadvertently, whether you like it or not, thrusts you right into the fray of national politics and brings you head to head on lots of occasions, if not every occasion, with the ministry and the minister of education, who was a member of the National Assembly as well. And that has brought a lot of pressure to bear on you, I think, than an ordinary member on the union. We've seen the government come after you several times. How have you managed that?
Well, Sharon, the thing is, Carissa McDonald understands that when I'm in Parliament, I wear my political cap. When I sit as General Secretary and I'm having negotiations with officials from the Ministry of Education or any other organization, I am able to differentiate and to separate my roles.
Hmm.
And so recognize that while the coalition was in government, Carissa McDonald was affiliated to the coalition, but I stood my ground when it came to the benefits of our teachers.
Hmm.
I did. I have no compromise when it comes to our teachers. When it comes to me as a teacher, I have no compromise. So whichever government is in power, I will continue to stand and champion the cause of our teachers. As a matter of fact, let me say to you, Coretta McDonald did not just appear like that. I came through the ranks. And so I came through the ranks of one of the GTU branches, which is the South Georgetown branch. I served in that branch as assistant secretary, as branch secretary, as sport secretary, and as the Women's Advisory Committee focal point person for my branch in Georgetown. And then I moved to Central GTU, where I served as an assistant secretary to the general secretary. And then I became the deputy general secretary. And eventually, when we had elections a couple of years ago, I became general secretary of the GTU, which I'm still serving as now. Moving on from the GTU, I would have served at the Guyana Trade Union Congress. First, in the youth arm as the general secretary, and it seems as if the secretary thing is my thing, as general secretary in the youth arm. Moved to the central body where I served as an assistant secretary, a principal assistant secretary. Then I moved up to vice president, and then eventually to president of the Guyana Trade Union Congress that I still hold up to this day. In the Caribbean Union of Teachers, I served as third vice president for 2 terms. And then going further afield, the trade unions of the Americas, I served as the Caribbean Women's Rep in that organization. So when you talk trade union business, I know what I'm about. I understand the issues. And so because of that kind of upbringing and that kind of background, I am solid when it comes to negotiating for teachers. And so when we negotiate with opponents, there are several strategies that you have to employ. And Coretta McDonald brings that to the table. And that is why I have been so frontal with all of the issues when it came to the teachers' business. As a matter of fact, there was a time when folks thought that the general secretary was the head of the union, because all you heard was the general secretary, and the writings you saw were signed by the general secretary. And every interview you saw there was that of the general secretary. When everybody else was fearful of going out there to speak, the general secretary was fearless and courageous and dedicated to her mandate in terms of representing our teachers.
Yep, out there fighting the good fight. Crusher, out there fighting the good fight. So we're in this election period, and we understand in the election periods, things are said and you see some strange actions in some instances. But what are you envisaging, Coretta, as a new dispensation for the GTU? Definitely, it can be business as usual. I'm certain you guys are looking to um, a breath of fresh air, as it were, in the Ghana Teachers Union. What is that looking like for you?
Well, Sherrod, let me say that in every organization, you you rally around what is happening, and you make your assessment,
Mhm.
and you view people based on, and it happens everywhere, even for promotion. Persons are promoted based on their work. And so at elections, if you recognize that you weren't getting the kind of representation from a couple of persons, then you need to have, well, not Coretta McDonald as a person, but the teachers recognizing what has happened over the years. The teachers have made their decisions to nominate other persons. And so we have a couple of persons running for office at the GTU elections. And so the office of the General Secretary is one that is being contested too. We have the office of the President is being contested, second Vice President, first Vice President, regional Vice President, equitable, and the position of Deputy General Secretary. Those positions are being contested as we speak. And teachers have nominated other persons because they feel they want to have some more type, if I can say that, better representation. Um, in some instances, we would have had some persons being elected just because they want to be there, maybe to have their names on a ballot. Because you see, the thing is, if in your own branch the teachers don't recognize you in your own branch, it's like in your own home. If your family doesn't recognize your value in your own home, and you have to go somewhere else to get that kind of recognition, it speaks volume. It speaks volume. And so I'm saying, when Coretta McDonald was nominated, one of the first branches I got my nominations from was my branch, the South Georgetown branch.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
several other branches across this country would have nominated Coretta McDonald as president, as general secretary, as first vice president, you know? And so this is how teachers see Coretta McDonald, that she cannot only function in one position, but they see you being able to function in several other positions. And I can say the the majority of the nominations coming in saw Coretta getting nominations for president and general secretary. The majority of the nominations
Congratulations.
coming from our 42 branches, well, 40 active branches.
Hmm.
So, and teachers were very, very disappointed when they learned that I am not vying for the position of president.
Why
But
is that?
after much explanation,
I,
they concluded that yes, we need to have you remain right where you are there. Because the thing is, the general secretary is the life wire for any organization. The CEO. The GS could be compared to the CEO of the organization,
mhm.
who carries out the day-to-day management of the organization. Correspondence come through you. You respond to correspondence. You look at what is happening in terms of membership increase, and those things fall under you as general secretary. You are the person who spearheads the executive council meeting in terms of all the arrangements for general council meetings, for executive council meetings, for conferences. The GS is the person who spearheads those arrangements. The GS is the spokesperson for the organization. And so many persons, after speaking with them, then they understood that, okay, yes, while we would have wanted you to be president, we recognize that the responsibility of the president is to chair the meetings and to lead out in some committees like the negotiations committees and some industrial relations, some other industrial relations committees. That's the role and function of the president, which doesn't carry a whole lot of weight, because in signing off many documents, the general secretary is the person who signs off on agreements and any relationship that we build. As a matter of fact, let me say, when we formed that relationship with GT&T then under my good friend Yog Mahadio, it was the general secretary who brokered that arrangement and signed off on it. And of course, we had some fallouts later on, but we were able to resuscitate and get reunited in this relationship now as GTT under the stewardship of its new CEO, Mr. Damian Blackburn. And so these are the things that these are some of the functions of the general secretary. To go out there and to engage partners on the broker arrangements that will benefit our teachers. And I want to say thank you to GT&T then, and thank you to GTT now for all that they have been doing for our teachers, the benefits that our teachers would have received. And I want to say a special good morning, good afternoon, I think it is, to Mr. Damian Blackburn, who is the new CEO of GTT, but he would have been able to reach out to Carissa McDonald through one of my colleagues from the Bahamas, the president of the Bahamas Teachers Union, Mistress Belinda Wilson, who said to him then, "You're coming to Guyana. I have a strong colleague there, a woman, of course. Her name is Carissa McDonald. Make sure you touch base with her." And that didn't fall on deaf ears. When he got to Guyana, he made contact with me. We were able to meet, and teachers benefited last year for our International Teachers Day week activities. Our teachers benefited greatly, and we will continue to build on that relationship as well as all the other relationships that we have. Right now, we will talk with Digicel, and we're hoping that Digicel will come on board very quickly, and we're going to have even more benefits coming for our teachers. And so the GS is always up and about, Sherrod, working for our teachers.
Fantastic. And as we're talking, correct, I just want to go through some of the names of the other persons who are vying for office within the Guyana Teachers Union in this upcoming elections. Well, first, let me ask you, Coretta, why y'all story so long in the GTU? I see this election is from March 1st to April 15th. Y'all like a whole country by yourself.
All right. Well, Sherrod,
Talk to us
don't
about that.
forget, our teachers are spread all across the country. And so our elections are like national elections where we have our teachers everywhere, but our voting is not done in person. Our voting is done via postal ballots. So when those ballots are being posted, and I need to say that we have an independent election commission that runs our elections. The elections officer is being after we would have put our advertisement in the newspaper and the elections officer has been identified by the general counsel, then that elections officer comes with his or her commission, the person who would make up that commission, and they spearhead the election free of interference. It ought to be free of interference from any officer of the GTU, so we don't communicate with the elections officer. We communicate via the monitoring team that we have there. So we share with the monitoring team, and they're the ones who interface with the elections officer and his or her commission. So our ballots are posted to every teacher across this country. They're not posted individually, but they're posted in packages of their schools. So if we have 10 teachers at St. Patrick's Primary, then there's an envelope that goes there with 10 smaller envelopes with each teacher's name on that envelope. So each teacher would receive his or her ballot. It also comes with a returning envelope and a stamp. Mm-hmm. So you vote and you place your ballot in the returning envelope, and that's what you repost to the post office.
I see. I
That is
see.
completed. And so the
That's
period is April 15th
mm-hmm.
would be the last day for ballots to be sent off. Well, April 14th, because it closes on April 15th.
Yep, I know that the Americans have a mail-in system for the national elections as well. Maybe that is a good something we can think through nationally. But with how things going with these people, with these boys, that's another discussion altogether. But I'm happy that the GTU, the Ghana Teachers Union, has such a robust system. And for those of you who are listening may have missed it when I went through it the first time early on, here are some of the folks who are vying, some of the hardworking teachers out there vying for office within the Ghana Teachers Union, and maybe you guys might know some of them. You have for president Mark Light and Vanessa Kisoon, the two persons vying for president of the GTU. You have first vice president Mariska Williams, and maybe, Chris, you can help me with the pronunciation of this teacher's name.
Leslie Collins.
Lessimine Collins. Excellent. Julian Cambridge is for second vice president, and Kamal Singh. You have general secretary, our very own Coretta McDonald. Is it, what is the second name? Simone?
Mills Seymour.
What's the first name again?
Mills Seymour.
Mills Simone. Seymour, and we have also Dorsel Farley. We have, and those are persons for general secretary. You have persons for deputy general secretary Jennifer Carls Nicholson, Heathcliff Peters, Delana Jones, Alistair Fraser, Cheryl Hines for deputy general secretary, and then you have a treasurer. Well, this teacher is unopposed. Is it Symmetra Allen?
Samantha Allen.
Samantha Allen for treasurer unopposed. And is that an automatic election, Coretta? If I know my elections well, good. And you have the regional vice president for Demerara, Collis Nicholson. He's unopposed too, so he's been duly elected, quote unquote. You have also regional vice president for Berbice, is one Donna DeAndre, also unopposed. And then you have regional vice president for Essie Kibo. Well, this is the position you need an election for. You have you're balloting rather. You have Carmel Williams and Rabindranath Budram, and we wish all of the teachers all the best in seeking higher office within the teaching fraternity through the Ghana Teachers Union. Coretta, I've listened. Had a good fortune this morning of listening to. I think it was the not. I think it was the president of Ghana Teachers Union was in another program this morning, talking about what's happening and his own bid to be re-elected. And in one instance, he referred to teachers as elements and so forth. I was wondering if we're there in this election cycle of the Ghana Teachers Union, and especially looking at the fact we're just coming out of Women's Day, and you have a lot of women, vying here. Couldn't we campaign with a little more finesse, a little more class, maybe a little more dignity? What are your thoughts?
Well, Sherrod, I was taken aback when I heard the president of the GTU, a man who is supposed to be a man of God, or who professes to be a man of God. I was really taken aback when I heard him refer to his female colleague as elements. And we need to take note of that. We just came out of International Women's Day, where the same president was wishing his female colleague happy International Women's Day and talking about the respect that our women need to have. And here you are on a Sunday morning referring to your female colleagues as elements. It leaves much to be desired. And I would say shame on the president and shame on any female teacher or those female teachers who sat through there and did not object to that. When a man could refer to a woman or a female as an element, then it tells you much about that individual. And so teachers, I would want to urge you to be wise, because our teaching profession, the population is primarily women and females. And if a male is going to refer to a female colleague as an element, watch out. Tomorrow you might be referred to as something else. And these are the little issues that we need to take note of. Because as female teachers, we contribute to the union through our dues that we pay. And our dues are not considered as elements, but when you're going to refer to a person as an element, it leaves much to be desired. And Cheryl, you've seen the trend recently where we would have had persons in government
Mm-hmm.
making disrespectful remarks and even assaulting females. So, it leaves one to wonder whether this person is a part of this culture. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a serious issue. And we should never, ever, especially as educators, we should choose our words wisely. We should take time off. Don't get caught up in the election frolic
Well, I
and
was about to say
campaign.
that. I was about to say that maybe our brother Mark Light is a little taxed from the electioneering and the campaigning, and he had a moment there.
Well, Sharon, I wouldn't want to say that
Hmm.
because as president of the union, you have to be very mindful with the things you say.
Hmm.
As president of the union, you have to be fair. If you look, if you check Coretta McDonald's record, you would see I have been fair in my dealings when it comes to our teachers' business and whoever is the government of the day. I want to repeat that. And if you look at what has happened during Mark Light's tenure in 2018, and I think I need to refer to this in 2018, when the teachers made the chant and they referred to Dr. Nicholas Henry as a yard fowl, the GTU had no issues with that. We had no issue. There was no press statement issued by the president of the GTU disassociating GTU from that chant. But in 2021, when the teachers came out with another chant, teachers are creative, teachers would do chant. And if we go back to history and we look at what has been happening in protests, not only in Guyana but all over the world, you would hear chants that are being made up or jingles that are made up. You would hear them, and it lasts for that period. But in 2021, when we had a chant and we had jingles, we saw Mark Light disassociating the GTU from these jingles, you know? And it leaves one to wonder who really is political or who is politically affiliated. Because in 2018, you didn't have any disassociation, but in 2021, you disassociated yourself. In 2018, the industrial action lasted for 9 or 10 full days until we had the invitation to come to the table. Let's come to the table and talk. And there was no objection to anything there. But in 2021, boots off the ground was pulled off. And we know exactly why it was pulled off because we saw the news, the breaking news, and we recognize why it was pulled off by some elements. But let me say, in all of our election frolic and campaign, we should be matured and we should be intelligent and wise enough to refer to, even if it's our opponent, to refer to them respectfully because at the end of the day, these are the teachers who pay their dues to the Ghana Teachers Union to allow the GTU to be able to function, to offer benefits to our members, to be able to assist the officers to travel from one point to another, to be able to engage our teachers and to resolve issues that teachers are having with the Ministry of Education or teacher-teacher relationship issues. These monies come from our teachers. So we need to respect our teachers. We need to respect our female teachers especially. And we need to refer to them properly, not as elements.
Yep, there's where we are. Coretta, we just on our one 1 hour mark. Is there anything you want to say to our listeners out there about what comes next? I mean, these elections up to March 15th. It's a month and a half. The Guarantee Teachers Union,
April
big last, but
15th.
we tell you, a month and a half.
April 15th.
April 15th, and we're just at today is what, the 13th?
today.
So we have a little ways to go. What is your advice to teachers as they're sizing up the candidates and they are looking at that ballot paper to be posted in?
Well, I want to take this opportunity to say to our teachers, first of all, I want to thank the teachers across this country, the kind of confidence that they to have nominated me coming from the various branches as your general secretary, as president, as first vice president. But I want to say, on a serious note, check the track record of persons who are vying for a position. Check the track record of persons who serve in positions and make that mark wisely. And of course, I have no doubt that our teachers will see Coretta McDonald or continue to see Coretta McDonald as they've been doing, as their champion, as the person who would go out there to speak for them freely without fear or favor. And to assure you that the work that I would have started before, that I am going to continue to work for you, to continue to build on that, and to continue to ensure that all teachers are given the kind of respect that we ought to have by society, by parents, are now down here, by the government of the day, and by all and sundry, so that together as a professional organization, we would be able to serve those children who come to us, looking to us for that kind of molding, that we would be able to serve them to the best of our ability. And so, teachers, I implore upon you, vote Coretta McDonald for your general secretary. We have a team that we have out there that we sometimes call slate, and I'm urging you to vote for those persons that you see there. And don't bother with the kinds of notions that you're getting about political and political. All of us are political in one way or the other. The thing is, some of us are brave enough to stand out, while some of us, we sit behind leaves and so on, and pretend that we're not. But our teachers know different and persons know different. So I just want to say to you, let's continue to build and not want to break what we have already established, but let's continue to build. And you know that you have a shoulder you can lean on. You know that you have a voice that can be heard out there for you. And so the political thing, again, let me say this. I have a colleague, Sipol Narayan, and you know that, Sherrod, who served as the president
I
of
was about
GAU.
to say that. I was about to say that.
Well, let me allow you to say that.
Yeah. I was about to say that, in keeping what Chris is saying, that here, our friends on the other side, because I don't want it to always seem as though it's we or them. We have our moments of disagreement, yes, and we come out hard. But our friends on the other side, they're not apparently thinking about who's political and who is not political, because, as you were about to say, C. Paul Narayan is the president of GAU and sits as a member of parliament. And if you really look at it, if you want to be sensible about it, I think that might be a plus and not a negative to have somebody who is integrally involved in the union, like a general secretary, even the president, who is sitting in the National Assembly, where you have policies are being shaped, you have laws that are being made that might impact the very institution. So it might augur well in some other instances not to have the same person do the job. But as you said, this is a very small country. Everybody knows everybody and connected to somebody in some way. So you aren't going to get the ideal independent non-political person that you're looking at. And really and truly, the people that are staunchly apolitical don't fight for these offices. Really and truly, anybody who don't want to be political in this country, keep quiet, keep the head down, and don't aspire to be anything else but, ordinary teacher. Let me just put it that way, right? The minute you step up, even if you want to be whichever role in the GTU is the most minimal role in terms of being a part of the leadership structure, the most minimal role. Soon as you decide to step up and do that, the very act of asking people to cast a ballot for you is a political act. So to say you aren't political, you might not be on a national scale political, but a council at local government is a political person. But at the local government level, then you got the national government level. But what you guys are doing here, the very activity you're undertaking, is a political one. What is politics? Politics is the art of influence. It is the art of influence, and that is what you're doing now. You're going around, people are campaigning to get people, trying to influence people to vote for them a certain way so that you have a certain outcome in this GTU election. So I think it's very simplistic if you'd have people or persons saying that, we are opposed to political people when the very act you're involved in is a political act.
Yes. So, Sherrod, I just want to say to remind our teachers that as General Secretary, I have been advocating for equal opportunities and for equity amongst teachers across this country. And I'll continue to do that. So our teachers who are serving in Chinapau, they must be given the equal opportunities as our teachers who are serving in Georgetown. And equity must be our focus. I want to also say to you that I will continue to build alliances as your General Secretary with corporate organizations and the other sister union unions and the further afield so that we'll be able to strengthen the GTU. In addition to that, I would want to encourage all teachers to be able to forge for unity in the GTU so that together we can stand as one strong force to champion the cause for each other.
Fantastic. And we want to wish all of our teachers the best. Folks, especially our teachers who are going to be vying here, let us stay focused on utilizing all of the skills that the teachers across this country can bring to bear in moving this organization forward. Political, non-political, religious, non-religious, you name it, and all of the skill set, all of the academic skill set that are available in the GTU. May those be utilized to moving the organization forward and let it blossom even more than it is currently. We want to wish everybody who is vying nothing but the very, very, very best. All I'm watching at this long list of teachers who have stepped out and say, I want to be counted. And we want to wish everybody the very best. I'm not I don't know Melanie Seymour or Dorsell Farley who contesting for General Secretary. I'm certain they're fantastic, lovely people. But Coretta, you have our you have my let me speak for my own self. You have my my vote of confidence. I gotta come back in the union, start back teaching.
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Fantastic. Coretta, thanks for spending this time with us and bringing us up to date with what's happening in the GTU. Thank you so
You're so
much.
welcome. You're so welcome. Have a good day.
You
And
too, Coretta.
good day to your viewers as well. And let's remember, COVID is alive and well. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Enlightenment. Thanks, Coretta. Thanks for spending this time with us.
bye bye.
Folks, that's our time for today. That's our time. Happy, happy Sunday, where you folks are. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. We wish all our teachers the best, all of them vying, without exception. We wish all of them the best. Unfortunately, in this process, um, only those who favor the people, who are favored by the people, the will of the people, the will of the teachers must prevail. We want to say best wishes to the current president, the incumbent president, Mark Light. Best wishes to Vanessa Kissoon and the persons vying for first vice president, Mariska Williams and Leslie Collins. Those vying for second vice president, Julian Cambridge and Kamal Singh. Those vying for general secretary, Coretta McDonald, Melanie Seymour and Dorsell Farley. Those vying for Deputy General Secretary, Jennifer Clark Nicholson and Heathcliff Peters, Delana, Delana Jones and Alistair Fraser, Chanel Hines, and the treasurer who has been elected unopposed, Samantha Allen, the regional vice president, Demerara, who has been elected unopposed, Colin Nicholson, the regional vice president, Burbis, who's been elected unopposed, Donette DeAndre, and the regional vice president, Esikebo, Carmen Williams, and Rabindranath Budram. We want to wish all of you folks the very best, and no doubt, elected or unelected, non-elected or otherwise, you guys will continue to give your energies and your service to this organization that is most needed. Thank you, folks. That's our time today. Remember, guys, come back and partner with us. Smash the emoji button before you go. Share the live stream. We want to hear from you. We want to see you guys, how you're doing out there. Give us a share before you go. Smash that emoji button as well. Good to have each and every one of you guys. We're available on PayPal. We're available via Zelle. Available via Cash App, MMG. Uh, we're available via what's the other one? The other ones. We're available via MoneyGram and Western Union as well. You want to know how you can come and partner with us and help us to do more programs, keeping you informed. You want to WhatsApp 627-6963, and we're going to be certain to tell you how. 627-6963. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday. It is still a self-care day in the weekend. So, guys, spend some time with family, spend some time with yourself as well. Be gentle with yourselves as well. Stay safe, guy. And as the General Secretary incumbent of the Ghana Teachers Union, Quentin McDonald, said, COVID is still real. So let us continue to practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are out there for your health and your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. That's our time today. Give us a share, smash that emoji button. I'm seeing you, Gordon Smith, and see you, Rebel and Derek Wills. Good to see you, Carla Reynolds and Patricia Kisoon. Good to see you, Yolanda Martin. Bull Page, good to see you as well. Bull Page is in the house. Good to see all of you folks. Thanks for joining us today. And that's our time today, folks. That's our time. Happy Sunday. That's